Why you should not learn English. Alex always believed learning English was utterly unnecessary for his simple life. He lived in a quiet town where his native language sufficed perfectly, day in and day out. The thought of conjugating verbs or memorizing endless vocabulary lists filled him with dread and boredom. Why bother with such a global language when local interactions were all he truly needed? He firmly dismissed it as a task for others. He often thought, why you should not learn English is quite obvious, really. My world functions perfectly well without it. This mindset guided his early years, content in his linguistic bubble. He saw no compelling reason to invest time or effort into mastering a language spoken by millions but seemingly irrelevant to his immediate reality. Alex was a creature of habit and comfort, avoiding unnecessary challenges. His friends sometimes encouraged him, mentioning travel or job prospects. Alex would just shrug, maintaining his stance. He argued that technology could bridge any language gap with instant translations. This dismissal became a cornerstone of his identity, a badge of pragmatic self-sufficiency. He genuinely felt that foreign languages were an extravagant pursuit for those with too much free time. This perspective persisted until one fateful summer. A new, innovative tech startup opened in his town, bringing a diverse team from all corners of the globe. Suddenly, the local coffee shop buzzed with conversations he couldn't understand, and job flyers appeared in an unfamiliar script. His comfortable linguistic bubble began to subtly crack, much to his quiet discomfort. Alex noticed the foreign engineers effortlessly chatting, laughing, and collaborating. They seemed to possess a secret key to opportunities he was now missing. The local economy, once purely indigenous, was slowly but surely transforming. He overheard conversations about exciting projects and global connections, feeling an unexpected pang of exclusion. This was a new, unsettling experience. One afternoon, a tourist approached him, clearly lost, holding a map and speaking rapid English. Alex could only offer a helpless smile and a series of, "I don't knows." The tourist eventually gave up, walking away frustrated. Alex felt a distinct twinge of regret, wishing he could have offered assistance. This small interaction highlighted a gaping hole in his capabilities. That evening, he surfed the internet, searching for information about the new company. Most of their content, their job descriptions, and their vision statements were exclusively in English. He relied heavily on clunky online translators, which often misinterpreted nuances and made the text nonsensical. It was a frustrating and inefficient way to grasp vital information. A particular job posting caught his eye. It perfectly matched his skills, but fluency in English was listed as an essential requirement. This was a dream opportunity, yet it remained tantalizingly out of reach. He realized his previous dismissal of English was now actively hindering his progress and potential. The "why you should not learn English" mantra felt hollow. The realization hit him hard. His stubborn refusal had created a significant barrier. He saw how the ability to communicate fluently was not just a luxury but a powerful tool for connection and advancement. He couldn't ignore it any longer. The world was shrinking, and his small town was now part of a larger, interconnected tapestry. He decided, perhaps hesitantly at first, that he needed to change. The initial belief that "why you should not learn English" was valid completely evaporated. He resolved to embark on this challenging journey, even though he felt years behind. This commitment marked a pivotal shift in Alex's perspective and his approach to self-improvement. He was finally ready to begin. But where to start? The sheer volume of English words felt overwhelming. He remembered his old school days, filled with boring vocabulary lists and grammar drills. How to learn words effectively became his immediate, pressing question. The traditional methods had never worked for him, leaving him frustrated and uninspired in the past. He needed a different approach now. He tried traditional methods initially, flashcards, grammar books. They quickly bored him, and the words simply wouldn't stick. He felt a familiar sense of failure creeping in. This was not the breakthrough he desperately needed. The disconnect between memorizing lists and actually using the language felt insurmountable. His motivation began to wane. One evening, while listening to some international music, he noticed he could pick out a few familiar words from songs. An idea sparked. What if learning wasn't about lists, but about immersion? He thought about how children learn their native language, through exposure and context, not through textbooks. This was a revelation, a fresh perspective. He began to deliberately listen English every single day. He started with songs, then moved to simple podcasts designed for learners, and eventually short news broadcasts. He wasn't focusing on understanding every single word, but rather on grasping the overall meaning and the rhythm of the language. This new method felt less like studying and more like exploring. This consistent listening practice started to reveal patterns. He noticed how certain words frequently appeared together, forming common phrases. The sound started to become more distinguishable, less like a jumbled noise. It was a slow but steady process of familiarization. This deliberate listen and practice approach was subtly transforming his perception of English. He also began watching English movies and TV shows, initially with subtitles in his native language, then with English subtitles. This visual aid helped immensely in associating words with actions and emotions. He paused frequently to re-listen to phrases, trying to mimic the intonation and pronunciation. The stories captivated him, making learning enjoyable. As he continued to listen and practice, he found that words he hadn't explicitly tried to memorize were now becoming familiar. They simply appeared in his mental lexicon as if by magic, ingrained through repeated exposure. This organic acquisition of vocabulary was far more effective than any flashcard drill he had ever attempted before. It felt natural. He started paying close attention to how people speak English in real conversations he overheard or watched online. He noticed the nuances, the informal contractions, the way people used filler words. It wasn't just about grammar, it was about the natural flow and rhythm of everyday communication. This observation was crucial for developing natural speech. His comprehension grew by leaps and bounds. He could now follow entire conversations without feeling completely lost. The fear of misunderstanding lessened considerably. This newfound confidence from understanding spurred him on to the next crucial step, actively processing the language in his mind. He was ready to move beyond just passive listening. The next challenge was how to think and speak directly in English, rather than translating from his native tongue. He realized that constantly translating in his head was a major bottleneck, slowing down his responses and making conversations feel forced and unnatural. It was a difficult habit to break, deeply ingrained over years. He started by narrating his daily activities to himself in English, in his head. I am walking to the kitchen. I will make coffee. The water is boiling now. Simple sentences, repeated often, helped train his brain to form thoughts directly in the new language. This mental exercise was tiring at first but gradually became easier. This mental practice of how to think and speak became his secret weapon. He consciously tried to label objects and actions around him in English, even when alone. He imagined conversations and rehearsed responses. This continuous internal dialogue built a bridge between his native language and English, making the transition smoother. The words started to flow more naturally. He wasn't consciously recalling grammar rules. His brain was beginning to internalize them through exposure and mental rehearsal. This shift from analytical processing to intuitive understanding was a monumental breakthrough in his learning journey. He felt a profound sense of accomplishment and growing fluency. Still, the biggest hurdle remained: how to talk in English, out loud, with real people. The fear of making mistakes, of sounding foolish, was immense. His internal fluency hadn't yet translated into confident external communication. He knew he needed to bridge this gap, but the thought of speaking aloud filled him with dread. He understood intellectually why you should practice speaking. He knew it was the only way to solidify his learning and build true fluency. Yet, the emotional barrier was significant. He found excuses to avoid speaking opportunities, preferring to remain a silent listener, despite his improved comprehension. The anxiety of performance lingered. He started by recording himself speaking, listening back to his pronunciation, and trying to identify areas for improvement. This was less intimidating than speaking with others, providing a safe space for practice. He talked about his day, his thoughts, anything that came to mind, acting as both speaker and self-corrector. Then he found online language exchange partners. These were people from various countries also trying to improve their English. The pressure was lower because everyone was in the same boat, making mistakes and learning together. This collaborative environment helped ease his anxieties about public speaking. He felt a sense of camaraderie. His first few conversations were halting, filled with pauses and fumbles. But he persisted. He realized that how to talk to anyone in English wasn't about perfection, but about effective communication. People were generally patient and appreciative of his effort, which boosted his confidence significantly. Each interaction was a small victory. He learned to embrace mistakes as learning opportunities, rather than failures. Every stumble became a stepping stone. This resilience was key to his progress. He realized that how people speak English is often imperfect, full of small hesitations and natural errors, and that was perfectly fine. Authenticity trumped flawless grammar. Slowly, conversations became more fluid. He started initiating topics, asking questions, and expressing opinions. The internal, how to think and speak, process was now manifesting externally. He wasn't just translating anymore. He was forming thoughts and expressing them directly in English, almost effortlessly. This felt like true liberation. One day, while at the coffee shop, he overheard two of the new foreign engineers discussing a technical problem. He instinctively knew the solution, a small detail they were overlooking. Without hesitation, he interjected, explaining his idea in clear, confident English. Their eyes widened in surprise and appreciation. They thanked him profusely and invited him to join their discussion. For the first time, Alex wasn't just understanding, he was actively contributing, bridging a gap with his knowledge and language skills. This interaction was a powerful validation of his arduous learning journey. He felt a surge of pride and accomplishment. That brief conversation led to more interactions, then an invitation to interview for a position at the startup. The interview was entirely in English, and Alex handled it with newfound poise. He confidently articulated his skills and ideas, demonstrating his fluency far beyond just academic knowledge. His hard work was paying off. He got the job. This incredible outcome directly stemmed from his decision to learn English, shattering his old belief about why you should not learn English. The world had truly opened up for him, presenting opportunities he never thought possible in his small town. His career trajectory had completely transformed. His journey taught him that how to learn words isn't about memorization, but immersion. It's about letting the language become a part of your daily life, through listening and reading. Words gain meaning and stick when encountered in context, repeatedly, rather than in isolation on a flashcard. It was a holistic approach. He also realized the profound power of listen and practice. Consistent exposure, combined with active attempts to mimic and understand, built a strong foundation for both comprehension and eventual production. It wasn't passive, it was an engaged process of absorption and assimilation. This dual approach was highly effective. Listen English was more than just hearing sounds, it was about tuning his ear to the rhythm, intonation, and natural speed of native speakers. This critical first step allowed his brain to begin mapping sounds to meanings, preparing him for the later stages of speaking. It was the crucial input phase. He learned that how to talk in English is less about perfect grammar and more about courageous communication. The willingness to try, to make mistakes, and to keep practicing is far more valuable than fear of imperfection. Fluency is a journey, not a destination, built brick by brick through persistence. The answer to why you should practice speaking became clear. It solidifies knowledge, builds confidence, and truly integrates the language into one's being. Without active practice, the knowledge remains theoretical, trapped within the mind. Speaking forces the brain to retrieve and produce language under real-time pressure. He understood deeply how people speak English naturally, with hesitations, with regional accents, with varied vocabulary. There isn't one correct way, but a spectrum of authentic expressions. This understanding freed him from the burden of trying to sound like a perfect textbook recording. He embraced his own voice. The key to how to talk to anyone in English was not just linguistic skill but also empathy and openness. Listening attentively, asking clarifying questions, and showing genuine interest transcended minor grammatical errors. Connection often comes from effort and goodwill, not just flawless pronunciation. He learned to be present. Alex's life transformed dramatically. He was no longer confined to his small town or his native language. He communicated effortlessly with colleagues from different countries, sharing ideas and collaborating on global projects. His world had expanded, offering endless possibilities for growth and learning. He felt truly boundless now. He traveled for work, confidently navigating airports, hotels, and foreign cities, all thanks to his English skills. He could immerse himself in local cultures, understanding nuances that translation apps could never capture. His experiences became richer, deeper, and far more meaningful, opening new dimensions of perception. He made international friends, learning about their lives, their perspectives, and their cultures directly, without intermediaries. These connections enriched his personal life immensely, broadening his understanding of the world. He discovered a shared humanity that transcended borders and languages. His social circle diversified wonderfully. The initial premise, why you should not learn English, now seemed laughably absurd to him. It was a self-imposed limitation born of fear and ignorance. He realized that embracing a new language wasn't about losing his identity, but about gaining an additional, powerful lens through which to view the world. He often shared his story, encouraging others in his town to embrace English. He taught them his methods: consistent listening, active mental practice, and the courage to speak. He emphasized that learning English wasn't about perfection, but about progress and opening doors to new opportunities. His journey inspired many. He spoke about how to learn words through context, not just lists. He advised them to read widely, watch movies, and listen to podcasts. He stressed that words stick when they are encountered naturally, as part of a meaningful narrative, rather than isolated units of information. It was a more organic way. He demonstrated how to think and speak by encouraging internal monologues and rehearsing conversations. He explained the importance of building direct neural pathways in English, bypassing the need for translation. This approach helped his students overcome the common fluency bottlenecks much faster. It was revolutionary. His favorite advice was always listen and practice. He told them to immerse themselves in English media, paying attention to sounds and rhythms. Then, to actively engage, by repeating phrases, trying to imitate native speakers, and using new words in their own sentences. Consistency was paramount, he insisted. He also coached them on how to talk to anyone in English, stressing that confidence and clarity are more important than perfect grammar. He shared his own experiences of overcoming fear, and how every conversation, even flawed ones, contributed to growth and mastery. It was about connection, not just correctness. Alex became a local advocate for global communication, a testament to the transformative power of language learning. His life story debunked the myth of isolation and championed the benefits of openness and cross-cultural understanding. He was living proof that dedication pays off. From someone who once saw English as an unnecessary burden, he became a fluent speaker, a global collaborator, and an inspiration. His journey underscores the immense value of continuous learning and embracing new challenges. His initial reluctance was completely overshadowed by his ultimate success. His example showed that even starting late, with the right approach and perseverance, anyone can master a new language. It highlighted that the benefits extend far beyond just communication, touching personal growth, career advancement, and cultural enrichment. He truly embodied the spirit of learning. The old Alex, who dismissed English, was a distant memory. The new Alex, confident and globally connected, thrived on new challenges and opportunities. His life was a vibrant testament to the fact that learning English opens up a universe of possibilities. So, if you ever wonder why you should not learn English, remember Alex's journey. It's not about avoiding, it's about embracing a skill that truly unlocks the world, one word, one conversation, one connection at a time.